Peoples of the worldwide federated internet, what's good? Let's have an open mic conversation. So I got some things on my mind, some things dealing with politics, some things dealing with things that are going on in general. And before I do that, I want to give an honorable mention and respect to my guy Voss from Grow the Heck Up. If you're not following Grow the Heck Up on YouTube, if you're not following Grow the Heck Up on Spotify, iTunes, and all that, Instagram, highly admonish you do it. The podcast that they have, Right Hook, Left Jaw, Voss, Meech, and Miss Jordan, dope podcast, definitely chock full of information, definitely worth listening to. But I'm humbled when somebody that I respect says anything in a positive fashion toward me, and Voss gave me the honorable mention while he was on Instagram Live today. I respect, and I know that for sure I have opinions that, Voss doesn't agree with everything I say. No man or woman is going to agree with anyone 100%, but when I get respect from people I highly respect, I'm humbled because I am literally random dude, some dark corner of the internet, just talking what's on my mind. So I just wanted to say that. I definitely appreciate that. It means a lot. I don't think I'm alone in what I'm thinking along the lines, along what I'm going to say. And I've mentioned this before. So we got pretty much two political parties warring in the United States. We have the Republicans and we have the Democrats. But I think we have sub-parties or subgroups within those parties. Within the Republican Party, you have freedom-minded conservatives, right? Because let's keep it real. There's a lot of people with the Republican moniker on their name that are not truly Republicans in the sense that they actually believe in what can be considered the conservative or Republican core values. And on the other side, you have Democrats who, by far and large, I would say ideologically, even the people who are not on the far left extreme, which that's a subgroup within the Democratic Party, I typically don't agree with the Democrat platform because of how they go about answers. The mental conundrum in these days is it seems as though Republicans are going about answers the same way. The Democrats believe in government is the answer. And even though some Republicans say they don't believe that, the way they vote, the policies they support, and the directions in which they move, they pretty much support the same thing. They just go about it a different way. That's why I say I'm an independent. I lean more conservative. I agree with libertarians to some degree, but to some degree I don't agree with libertarians. And the same thing with people on the Republican side of the aisle. I agree with them sometime, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't know about that. But more often than not, I just don't agree with the Democrats at all. So I don't want to make a statement to lob a railing accusation against everyone who is on the left or everyone who is a Democrat. But I honestly, so I have questions that I would like answers to from somebody who's on the left, whether you're a extreme left wing, moderate left, center left. I always hear people on the left refer to people who are Team MAGA, Trumpians. I do not consider myself a Trumpian. I am not a Trump hater. I always say this. I think Trump has done a good job. I think he is. I think Trump is the necessary man for the job at hand as president for this time. Personally, you don't have to agree with that. That's just what I think. And I think he proved that in some of the things he has done before Ronapocalypse. The question that I have, and the thing that I'm struggling to understand, this is not me trying to diss Joe Biden. This is not me lobbing some accusations against Joe Biden. But let's keep it real, man. Like, this guy is a non-starter. So the position I was in the 2016 election, I didn't know anything about Trump. I didn't know what to think about him. I was uneasy because it seemed he was an unknown. I'm uncomfortable with unknowns in the political space. Unknowns happen in life. It's something you have to deal with. But in a political space, I like a little more stability. I like a little more normalcy, because you can really screw up millions of people's lives. You can destroy the whole world pretty much getting into politics as an unknown with some nefarious motives. So I just didn't know what to think of Trump. He was an unknown. Hillary Clinton, for me, non-starter right out the gate. As far as policies and as far as her ideology, I just don't agree with her at all. Her idea of how government should run, and her ideas and thought processes when it comes to life, I disagree with and disavow wholeheartedly. So like I said, she was a non-starter. She has many different issues I could go into, but she was a non-starter. Trump was just an unknown, and I just didn't know. I was like, this guy, I don't know about him. I'm not gonna lie. Shortly after he got elected, watching the things he's been doing, I'm like, yo, this dude is winning me over. I like what he's doing. And a lot of people are afraid to say that. And it's really a shame when we live in a time where a person can't express their own opinions without feeling like they're going to be not just ostracized, but ostracized and heavily and vehemently attacked just for their personal opinion. Look, I don't understand personally how anybody can support Joe Biden. I won't attack somebody for that. Now, I will, however, question whether you're actually paying attention and being intellectually honest. So this is my question for people on that side of the aisle. You've seen Joe Biden in interviews. You've heard him talk. Now, we can sit here and we can act like we don't hear what's going on. We can act like we don't see what's happening when Joe Biden talks. But let's keep it 100% real. When this man talks, I can tell that there is a disconnect. Whether there's some people that, they've peddled the theory that it's really an act. Maybe it is an act. I don't know. The point being is, when you see and hear him talk, you know that there's something disconnected between what he's saying, what he's thinking, and what actually is going on. You would trust. Now, for all the railing and for all the accusations lobbed against Trump, this is the one thing I will say. There's people that have said, he's got to be on speed or some other medication, or he's got to be, doped up on something. Maybe that's true. I don't know. The one thing I do know is when I hear Trump talk, when I see him do things, not a perfect man, so don't mistake what I'm saying for perfection, but the man is sharp. You may not agree with what he says, you may not like what he does, but the man is sharp. He knows exactly what he's doing, he's on time, and he's on point with the way he thinks. And every interview I've seen, has he said stupid things? Yeah, he's not the greatest orator, but has he been on point mentally with what was going on? That's what it appears like to me as an onlooker. But when you see Joe Biden and you see that this man clearly does not have, it's almost like he is not aware of his surroundings at all. Like he wakes up and it's like, where am I again? Where are we? Are we home? Are we on a campaign trail? What's going on? For the people on that side of the aisle that support Joe Biden, I'm not attacking you for your support, but I'm asking you, do you really believe that this man is what is best for the country? And if you believe that, I have more questions. Like, I honestly want to talk to someone on that thinks that way, that honestly believes Joe Biden is the proper choice for the country right now. I honestly want to talk to somebody on that side because I have questions about things Joe Biden has said, things he has done, his voting record, his voting history, just the person he's been in politics. Joe Biden has been in politics for, 40 something years, 50 something years, 40 something, I believe. I find it ironic that Joe Biden would criticize Trump, and in his criticism, he would say that he's the one that could fix what's going on in Washington, quote unquote. Okay, so the whole rest of the time you've been in Washington, what have you been doing? Because you've been there long enough to have enough influence to do something. You were the vice president. You were in the prime position to influence policy positions to do something to fix whatever you think is wrong. So I ask people to use reason. Like, let's put all our biases aside and let's put all our hatred aside. If you honestly hate Trump, I understand. There's people that just don't like him. I get it. But what I'm asking you is, let's be reasonable. Is Trump the reason for all the problems in Washington, D.C.? The man has only been there for 3 years and a half, a little over 3.5 years now. So if your argument is a man who has never been a politician and has only been in Washington for a little over 3.5 years as president, mind you, not dictator, president does not have all control. We have 3 separate but equal branches of government. So the president does not have complete and total control. So if you want me to believe that a man who's only been there for a little over 3.5 years has caused every problem that we see in Washington, but a guy that's been in Washington for 40 plus years is not part of the problem, a man who was also vice president of the United States for 8 years, that's the second most prominent position in politics. But you want me to believe that Donald Trump is the reason for all political problems? In reasoning, let's be honest, does that make sense? That is what I ask. Does that make sense? Donald Trump hasn't been in Washington long enough to be the bane of everyone's existence and the cause of all problems. Realistically, he hasn't even had the support necessary to actually do some things that he's wanted to do. Right? He's similar to Obama, ruling by executive order, which I don't like. the House is supposed to be making laws. And unfortunately, the House is not on their job, not doing what they're supposed to do, and no one is holding them accountable. And this is where I have my great issues and my great problems with the Democratic Party. And this is not a sweeping endorsement of the Republicans. This does not mean that the Republicans have everything right. This is not me proclaiming a red wave in November. I have no idea what's going to happen in November, but I will tell you this. I will not vote for one Democrat at all. I refuse. I'll vote for Republicans. I'll vote for independents. I'll vote for libertarians. I will absolutely, positively not vote for one Democrat for several reasons. There might be some Democrats that are moderate and reasonable, very possible. What I'm seeing happen in Washington right now is people, especially, and I'm not saying other parties, whether it be libertarian or Republican, I'm not saying that they are free from this, but with the Democrats, it's dangerous. I've noticed that the Democrats, no matter what positions they hold, they stand in lockstep with the Democrat Party and whatever the establishment pushes. And the establishment has pushed some crazy ideas. Nadler, who's been in D.C. for I don't know how long, just like Biden, probably 40-something years, said that there was no riots going on. These people are afraid. Prominent Democrats are afraid. That's the only thing I can think. If it's not afraid, I don't know what else it is, but they're afraid to address Antifa and to disavow Antifa. Now, I'm not soft, right? So I'm not frilly. I don't need them to disavow this person or that person. It's irrelevant. I don't really care. But when somebody asks them about it and they don't, I start asking questions like, look, I get it that you don't like Trump. You disagree with him policy wise, and he disagrees with you. You guys have your disputes, but you can't disavow Antifa. I don't understand that. These people want the destruction of the United States. They don't, if you have to believe what people tell you. I've always said this, right? And I'm going to swing this to a cultural issue. I've always said when it comes to hip hop music, if we tell the world we're thugs, we're killers, our women are hoes, all we care about is money and sex, entertainment, and sports, we'll kill you. Don't test us. We're animals. That is what is proclaimed and celebrated in hip hop music and popular secular hip hop music. You don't have to like it, but that's the truth. Just go listen to it. Go listen to the most popular songs out right now. That's what's celebrated. You can't get mad if people tell you that constantly. If that's what you tell people constantly, you can't then get mad when they believe you. When people believe, okay, yeah, we believe you're animals. We believe now your women are hoes. We now believe all you care about is sex, violence, drugs. We believe you. The same way Antifa has told us what they want. They want to tear the country apart at the seams. They don't want to help. They want to tear everything down and reshape the United States of America in their political and ideological image. That is what they want. That will do good for no one. If prominent people within the Democratic Party cannot disavow that, I cannot with a clear conscience support anything pushed by Democrats. I cannot, because in my opinion, I'm already a skeptical dude. I'm from Brooklyn, right? You grow up in New York City, a city of 8 million people. Is one of two things is going to happen. You either going to get got a whole lot, or you're going to learn how to read people very quickly. You're going to learn how to walk into a room, read a situation very quickly, size people up very quickly, and assess a situation immediately, or you're going to get got. Those are your only two options. So this is just how I'm wired. I was born and raised in this. This is how I'm wired. This is how I think. When I see a Democrat candidate that seems to be reasonable, I'm like, you seem reasonable, dog, but I know how all of these Democrats have done over the years. You just tote the party line. You get elected and you might hold to a certain view, but whatever the party says, you go along with. And I've seen that happen with Democrats who I felt were very reasonable people that I've listened to, and I'm like, oh, though we might disagree on a lot of areas, I think this person is reasonable. And then I watch them side with psychotic people, and I'm like, see, I don't understand this. And I've had discussions with people about this, and what's always the assumption is, oh, you just a shill for the Republicans. And that's why I always lead with, look, we have to stop being slaves to other people's thoughts. Just because you think me saying I can never support a Democrat, just because you think that means I'm shilling for Republicans or I'm 100% on the side of Republicans, I can't be a slave to what you think about what I'm saying. I can't unsee what I'm seeing. I can't unsee the fact that the Democratic Party as a whole is very psychotic. And this puts me in an interesting position, because I don't like political parties first of all. Personally, I don't like it. I don't think we should have political parties. I think they should be illegal. People should run on policies. In my opinion, what political parties do is they create the gang mentality in Washington, my gang against your gang, when it's supposed to be, this is what the people in my district, my constituents, my state, this is what they want to see from the country. So I'm representing the people who voted for me. I'm representing the best interests of the people, not myself, not some special interest group, not some conglomerate. The only conglomerate I'm representing is the constituents in my state. And for a president, the only conglomerate the president of the United States should be representing is the people. And again, you might not like him. You might say whatever you want about him. I honestly believe Donald Trump really does care about the American people. You can disagree, and I understand people have reasons why they believe that that's not true. I've had these discussions with people. I humbly disagree. I think he actually does have the American people in mind when he's making decisions. That doesn't mean his decisions are always right, but I think that is his goal, is what's best for America, what will make America thrive. I don't see that from the Democrats. And what scares me is I think people are willingly blind to what we see going on with the Democratic Party. And that scares me because, look, there comes a point, there's a saying, and there's some language in the saying, so I won't use it. The saying is pretty much, there comes a time where you have to crap or get off the pot. At some point, everybody's going to consciously have to make a decision in the United States of America. And the decision they're going to have to make is, do I want America to survive or collapse? And it's, in my opinion, it's honestly that simple. Do you want America to survive or collapse? To call for America's destruction, because there's some people that are going to say, I want it to collapse, is psychotic. You have family members, kids, little cousins, grandkids. If the United States of America collapses, what do you think is going to be? Euphoria? Rainbows and unicorns? No, it's going to be starvation and death. I'm just trying to understand what people are thinking. Stay frosty, people.